Shane Stranahan.
And in the left corner, I am the indefatigable, a burning ember in the darkness, your political analyst, Jamarl Thomas.
And together we are Fault Lines with Thomas and Stranahan. All right, good morning, folks. Hope everybody is having a good one. Let's get into the headlines. First up in COVID news, there were about 14,042 new COVID cases reported in the United States yesterday, with about 398 new deaths. Over the past week, there have been an average of 1,310 cases per day. That's a decrease of 25% from the average 2 weeks earlier. As of this moment, 45% of the total American public has been fully vaccinated, including kids, adults, everyone, and 54% of residents have received at least one dose. Also, as of this morning, the coronavirus has infected about 560,000 people total across the United States and killed about 602,500 people across the U.S. In national news, rescuers are searching for survivors in the rubble of a 12-story building that fell in Miami following a fire. Overseas, John McAfee is dead, reportedly by suicide in a Spanish jail cell. This follows word that the Spanish government had voted to extradite him. McAfee was a controversial antivirus software pioneer, pro-liberty advocate, fugitive suspected of murder, also a previous guest on this show. We've had John McAfee on here once. Jamarl and I interviewed him, and good interview, good talking, wild interview. One of the more interesting and lucid conversations you have with somebody. But we'll come back to that. Hunter Biden apparently paid a Russian hooker with Joe Biden's money while he was living in L.A. in Los Angeles, and there was this fiasco where he, involuntarily paid too much money, and then she had to give some back, and then she wouldn't give all of it back. It was embarrassing, and the Secret Service stepped in to protect him. We'll be talking about this in more depth, along with the New York City mayoral race at 9:30 with Michael Goodwin from the New York Post. Back to the headlines. In international news, Russia says it fired warning shots at a British ship sailing through Crimean waters in the Black Sea. The Brits have effectively denied this. It's an incident, definitely. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but another provocation, another instance of a Western power sailing into a sea of a nation that we don't like and think we can antagonize like this. Anyway, a well-known critic of the Palestinian Authority has died after being severely beaten in a pre-dawn raid. That's according to his family, and the man himself was Palestinian. The U.S. seized Iranian and Iraqi websites on charges that they were spreading disinformation. The Department of Justice seized 33 websites owned by the Iranian Islamic Radio and Television Union and 3 websites owned by the Kataib Hezbollah group based in Iraq. The websites they seized included Press TV, which is, a fairly well-known media outlet by, Iranian government media outlet that has done good work, to be clear. And again, website for Press TV, as well as about 35 other websites, also all seized. Hong Kong newspaper The Apple Daily has published its final edition with an editorial saying that the newspaper is a victim of tyranny. Speaking there of the government, either in Hong Kong or Beijing, depending on how you want to put it. The Apple Daily was founded by now arrested media tycoon Jimmy Lai and stands at the center of claims that Jimmy Lai was engaged in subversive behavior against Hong Kong and Beijing, using the paper as an outlet. And Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany has urged the EU to set up contacts with the administration of Russian President Vladimir Putin, something that the Ukrainian government has cautioned against. No, they're not part of the EU, to be extremely clear, but apparently, they're cautioning against it. Anyway, in Afghanistan, reports from Afghanistan are that the Taliban has taken over 4 more districts overnight, extending a push undertaken by the Islamist group over the past 2 months under the knowledge that America plans to withdraw its troops from the country in just 2.5 months at this point. Again, September 11th, a little bit over 2.5 months from now. Those are our headlines. You're listening to Fault Lines with Thomas and Stranahan. John McAfee is dead, Jamarl.
I heard. Well, I saw the clip. I saw the article.
And we've had him on the show. This is the thing.
Yeah.
We've had McAfee on the show.
That's the creator of McAfee
antivirus, the antivirus software, the whole suite, exactly. And a very controversial dude in himself.
Now, why is he a controversial dude? Tell me about McAfee. Give me a rundown.
Fugitive, suspected of murder, involved in like a drug operation in Central America. That is, according to himself, but he puts it as a pharmaceutical research operation that was basically doing sort of fringe research stuff, R&D that wouldn't be allowed. I forget exactly what it was. And then other people were saying that he did other drugs there too, and it was like illegal drugs, like recreational drugs, creating recreational drugs there specifically. Also, like a big Bitcoin guy, big cryptocurrency advocate, created his own cryptocurrency.
Yeah. I mean, if you are, think about it for yourself. I mean, when you're thinking of somewhere like, think of how states are formed. I know this is somewhat of a weird tweak from this, but think of America, think of Australia, think of, let's just go with those two. You have the royal, Britain, sun would never set on the British Empire, of all that good stuff. And you have these guys saying, you know what? We need to expand out and make colonies. And we're going to send these people, and they make their colonies. And then eventually the colony says, why are we taking orders from you? Mm-hmm. How many miles away? And how much military are you going to be able to get here? And after you do the calculus, hey, I could either be this small fish in a large, or a big fish in its own pond. Same thing with Australia. All of these guys eventually get in their heads, Canada, in their heads, why are we taking a lesson from you? And each one of them decides that they want to accrue their power that much more so. When those people say freedom and independence, what they're basically saying is we want more power. Now, my point is, if you are a libertarian, the logic is the same. The logic doesn't just change because you're an individual versus a state. If you're a libertarian and you don't want the government on your back, you don't want them telling you what you could do with their money, how much you could do with your money, all that stuff, what do? I like crypto. Crypto prevents them from screwing with me. It's a way for me to use my wealth in these kind of private exchanges because I have a magnificent advantage with a magnificent wealth. It makes all the sense in the world when somebody like in the libertarian thing would be heavy into crypto with this idea of getting the government off my back and everything.
Privacy, keeping the government and all that. Yeah. No, of course.
Which is the exact reason why I don't think government would allow it.
Of course.
I think they're going to kill it. Because in their heads, we're not going to have a rival to the dollar in any real sense in the United States.
The question is, which is stronger? And if you have Silicon Valley, which is an independent power, supposedly at least, that's maybe in some sense standing by crypto, and if crypto gets internationalized, and if you think of it as not a phenomenon of a national group, but an international thing,
it's issue of power. That's what it becomes.
It's true, but is every government around the world going to unilaterally stand against crypto, or is crypto going to kind of while they stand individually? It's like a fire that you have to put out.
It's a fire you have to put out. In church back in the old time. Let's say Game of Thrones. Yeah. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
One of the things that I hit my head upon was that when you are born and raised, you think government is sovereign as cosmic. No, it's a power among rival powers. If you had church, you got to have a church where elements of the church undermine the government to such a degree that the military doesn't come out because those guys believe in Jesus. Like that stuff. Yeah. And so you get these like power centers within the context of a system. This is no different. Like that's in my head, that's the way I see it. Government is sovereign only because government is sovereign.
It's true, which is why the thing that the crypto believers believe is that crypto will rival governments and beat them out.
Exactly, which is the reason why I don't believe governments would allow it. Just think of it for yourself. Think of this.
But in that sentence, aren't you treating government as a sort of sovereign, almost mystical entity with the power to snuff out anything that it wants to?
No,
it's simply a rival trying to beat this thing out, and they see it that way too. Yeah. If you were to ask, will governments oppose and try to stop your use of crypto? I think to a person, pretty much, they're going to be like, "Yep, I'm in for that."
When it gets to a certain point, yes,
exactly. They see that too, and the whole thing is okay. So, which horse are you betting on? Which one do you actually think is going to win?
The one with the military, because the fact of the matter is, it's not like the church. Like the church has a lot more bang for its buck in regards to trying to take that mantle, even though it's doing it in a weird, different way. Like, because even if the church took over, probably still using cash. If it makes sense, it's not changing the economics, right?
Yeah.
It's just. You pay attention to us. It's just that. And so from the standpoint of crypto, what is it based on? Like, I mean, I get you have a lot of people saying freedom and independence, but those people are very specific and very individual in that sense. And you get the Elon Musk of the world and everything else. But I guess my issue is going to take, what's going to I think happens is if it gets to the point where that stuff becomes black where it's like, okay, we can't see on the side of it. There are going to be rules. It's going to be like Uber, where it's like, all right, you guys are undermining the taxi.
But then some governments,
for example, would be but they're doing it because they're considered pariah governments, and our economic system is basically attacking them, meaning they have every incentive in the world to do it, whereas the other governments don't.
I hear you, but the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are also just a hedge against inflation generally. Mm-hmm. And so whether you have individual nation states, like we're talking about with Venezuela, who choose to stand up against it, or you have a sort of a homogenous, an anonymous bulk of people who are like, okay, I don't like where the dollar specifically is going, or I don't like where my currency is going. I'm going to invest in crypto because, it'll help. Even though it won't maintain its value perfectly, it'll definitely maintain it compared to my failing currency.
Right.
And that's how a lot of people see the USD. That's why, of course, they're choosing to invest in it, because they look at right now how much money the government between Biden and Trump has spent in the last year or so with COVID response and everything. And they're like, okay, I'm going to throw into crypto. Let's see where this goes. And for a lot of them, that was the right decision. If you just look at the value of their investments.
Yeah.
And I think they're right to do that. And the thing is, if the anonymous bulk of people who choose to do that decide to do that, and if they keep doing it around the world, even though individual nations, try to stop them, is that enough to keep it going? And John McAfee, I don't know that the weird thing, okay, coming back to McAfee for a second, he had like a tattoo, like making fun of the idea that he would commit suicide. He said previously he would never commit suicide. If he got suicide, invariably it would have been a government doing it to him. He would have been whacked. The tattoo is like schwacked or something like that, where it's like a joke that he would not do that. And now he commits suicide is at least a word.
But what would be the incentive to whack McAfee? Like I get Epstein, right? I think nobody and their mom, I believe Epstein was going to make it to that trial.
I also see somebody, and who knows what this will actually turn into. So cautionary little disclaimer here. This could be nothing, folks. But I see people who are talking about like dead man's switch that McAfee would have left, which is like specifically a crypto dead man switch. The idea being you die, suddenly these documents are released, or suddenly some things kick into, a mechanism kicks into play, and something starts happening. Who knows what? Who knows what McAfee set up or whatever, or if this is actually a thing again. But he seems like the kind of dude
that would do that.
That would do that, exactly.
I could see. I mean, if you have that great wealth. Because keep in mind, like wealth allows
a certain weird mind.
And a weird mind, that's right. Great wealth and a weird mind. Because if you think about it, this notion of saying, oftentimes, if I need to do my dry cleaning, I have to do physical labor to get my dry cleaning. If I need to get coffee, I need to do physical labor to get my coffee. If I need to bomb a country, I got to buy the weapon. But what happens when you just say, go do this? And you have people who say, thank you for the check. I'm going to go and do whatever that is. If that's tell your lawyer to create a dead man switch that just in case I'm suicided, what would be the cost? Like, it wouldn't be much. Like, I hope you understand what I mean. Like, if he had the goods, then it's possible, right? And I would love to see something like that. That would make my life very interesting to be able to report on that. There's a dead man switch, and he's doing this, and this is what's coming out. That would be fascinating.
Yeah.
Look, the McAfee thing is interesting, right? And like I said, died in a cell in Barcelona. And if I ever die in a cell, just know. I'm very curious about the research that he was doing and whether or not it was just designer drugs. Whether he was just doing research. I mean, and was it just for him? Or was it street drugs? If that's what is that what they're saying? Like,
I don't
this
know.
millionaire, billionaire, however, this rich guy is all of a sudden just, for whatever reason, committing crimes on that level. Like, that's a wild thing to do.
Killing his neighbor and covering it up, that kind of thing.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Why did he kill his neighbor? Or why did they accuse him of killing his neighbor?
Again, this is something, I forget if the explanation even made sense, but if so, I've forgotten the explanation.
Okay.
Or, it'd be interesting to go back and look at it.
Yeah.
But, of course, the other thing, okay, so there was the Epstein didn't kill himself meme that occasionally resurrects occasionally, and you see floating around online. Right. That meme never killed itself for sure.
Yeah.
It's grim humor, grim jokes. But that people are going to start to make the same sort of thing about John McAfee, because he has the tattoo. He has everything going for it that he wouldn't have done this, which is, again, just what adds the mystique, makes it a little bit weirder.
So right here, a couple big things. In October 20th, John McAfee was arrested in Spain when he was this is Reuters, BBC, was arrested in Spain when he was about to board a plane to Turkey and accused of failing to file tax returns for 4 years, despite earning millions from consulting work, speaking engagement, cryptocurrencies, and selling rights to his life.
The tax evasion is a big lingering thing, but that's not the most interesting or controversial, clearly. The murder, but that is the reason.
Murder takes precedence.
The murder takes precedence, the weird drug lab.
Sorry, in recent year, McAfee had cited or repeatedly claimed that there was a plot to get him However, the court said there was no revealing evidence that he was being prosecuted for political or ideological reasons. Let's see. He had argued in a hearing earlier this month that the charges against him were politically motivated and he would spend the rest of his life in prison if returned to the United States. Everybody is terrified of coming to our jails. I mean, the rape and everything else is just not appetizing to people.
Enough that judges in other countries use that to keep people from being extradited.
Think about that.
Jails are so bad. I'm sorry. This person may be guilty, but they do not deserve that fate.
5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's population is in our jails. And yet these people around the world are like, oh, yeah, we're not going to do this. Even the courts. Yeah, you did a crime, but you don't deserve to go to hell.
Yeah.
Basically that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Other big headlines, too. We got a packed show today, also.
What was the other one?
I just said we got a packed show today.
Oh, yeah, we do have a packed show.
We're going to be hitting a lot of this stuff.
So let's go to the soapbox segment. Because you're right. We have, I think every segment is full with the exception of maybe the rap.
Even the rap.
The rap is full?
Even the rap is full. We have Michael Goodwin on from 9:30 to 10 straight through. So we're going to have a call-in segment at 9:15.
Oh, I thought it was going to be 9:15. Okay, my bad. Okay, 9:30. Okay, so it's going to be straight through. Fair enough.
Exactly.
I need to update the calendar.
So we're taking calls at 9:15 instead, folks. We'll be opening them up. We'll be giving you warnings. But let's close this out so we can go into our soapbox segment. You guys are listening to Fault Lines with Thomas and Stranahan. Going into our soapbox segment, Jamarl's monologue, our short back and forth. Before speaking with Mark Sloboda at 7:30. Lines, we'll be right back.
Fault Lines. Nick, we speak your language. Find us at SputnikNews.com.